Hi everyone, this is Tim Ross. I'm at FAMARS USA headquarters in Rhode Island, and I'm having a conversation today with Chris Iannetta. Hi Chris.
How you doing?
Very
Thanks
good.
for having me.
All right. So tell me Chris, how did you become interested in hunting?
Something as I grew up, being in the sport of baseball, people from all over the country, met a lot of people that hunt, and I was playing AAA in Colorado Springs, and it was toward the end of the season. Guys, were getting primed for the hunting season, and they all had their bows out and they're shooting targets in the outfield well before any of the fans got there, obviously. And, I always like a challenge, so I tried it. I liked it. I fell in love with shooting a bow. And it kind of snowballed from there. Got into deer hunting.
What are your first experiences besides in the outfield?
My wife's family, they had a cabin in New York. I went up there and hunted with them a few times and shot my first deer. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the camaraderie of the campsite and just a good bunch of guys hanging out, telling stories.
Great. So you said your wife's family's into the outdoors, but
Right.
was your family into hunting and outdoors?
Yeah, we were, in a sense, we were more on the fishing side. My uncle had a boat. I grew up on the boat, so we fished in Narragansett Bay the entire time when I was growing up. And once baseball came around, that kind of monopolized a lot of my time. But I still love to fish, and now add hunting to the repertoire.
Well, you mentioned baseball. As a professional athlete, it must be hard to find time today to
Yeah.
hunt and spend time in the outdoors.
It is tough. You spend so much of the time dedicated to training and playing the game. Baseball's 8 months out of the year. But it's good because hunting season, obviously, deer hunting season aligns with the baseball schedule. So I get a couple months off in the fall and get a chance to go out a few times.
Now, with your time off, will you spend any special trips? Are you going on any trips in particular this year?
Nothing crazy. Usually once a year is out to New York with the wife's family. A couple former teammates invited me out to Texas one year. They have a ranch out there. I was able to do some hunting on some high fence. That was an awesome experience.
Excellent.
And a friend of mine has a farm in Rhode Island, and go down there and one morning here or there when I have some time in my schedule.
Sure. Now, you mentioned when you were in the minor leagues, there were a lot of guys that were into the outdoors. As you've gone up to the major leagues, is it still?
Oh yeah, same thing. There's a ton of avid hunters around. They love it, especially from the guys down south in the Midwest. They have some of the best deer in the country, and they take full advantage of it.
Excellent. Now, tell me about your experience with knives.
Yeah, I get obviously they go hand in hand with hunting. You need to field dress whatever you harvest. So I've fallen in love with the knife, and obviously having the affiliation with FAMARS, you get the opportunity to use one of the best knives in the world, and it shows when you're out there trying to dress a deer.
Great. Now, growing up, did you have experience with knives as a kid? Did your parents allow you to?
No, I didn't do much hunting. Obviously, I was young, and from a knife standpoint, obviously, filleting a fish or something like that. My uncle would always do it just because I was playing baseball and I was young. He didn't want me to get hurt or cut myself. But now that you get a little bit older, your motor skills get a little bit better.
Sure.
You start delving into those things.
Sure. Now, you mentioned FAMARS USA, and we're here at the headquarters, and you're saying, tell me about your affiliation with FAMARS USA. How did you?
Yeah, I started about a year and a half ago. Obviously, you guys approached me through my agent. We developed a long-standing relationship so far. It's been great. Been able to be exposed to a bunch of different products, especially on the knife side. I went hunting last year, and I was able to use one of them, and it was phenomenal.
Great. What'd you hunt? What'd you
I was in New York. We were in a deer, shot a buck, and obviously have to go through the whole field dressing process. So use a knife for that, and it worked great. It's one of the finest quality knives I've ever held.
Great. Now, I know FAMARS USA has a number of different products. Is there one specific knife that you have gravitated towards that you enjoy using the most?
Yeah, I really like the Predatory. That's one of the nicest ones I've seen. I love the weight of it. I love the feel of it. It works really well with or without the gut hook. It works perfectly.
So besides, you mentioned the weight, what else stands out about the product?
Well, when you're out in the field, you're using field dressing. You're carrying a knife around with you just in case you harvest something. And when you go through that process, you want something that's made well. You want a sharp blade. You want something that has a ton of precision. You want the weight, and most importantly, it is the weight. You don't want to have that to be at a disadvantage. You want to use the weight of the knife to your advantage, and you want the blade to match that, and it does. It's one of the finest qualities I've ever used.
Great. Well, being a Rhode Island boy,
Yep.
FAMARS being a Rhode Island company, FAMARS USA being a Rhode Island company,
Mm-hmm.
what's your future plans with FAMARS?
I hope it's a long-standing relationship. I look forward to many years of being affiliated with the name, and obviously getting the opportunity to expand the brand as much as possible.
Great. Chris, thank you very much.
Thanks for
Spend
having
some
me.
time with us.
Yeah.